For 5 years, I had a crush on Nina. I confessed my feelings 13 times, and every single time she turned me down. Then she went abroad for a study program and took her childhood friend along with her. That was when I finally decided to give up. At the airport, Nina hugged her best friend and looked at me. "You two actually make a good pair," she said. Later, when Nina returned to the country, she cornered me because she noticed a contact saved in my phone under the name wife. I smirked at her and said, "Weren't you the one who said we're a good match?" Your judgment's on point. In the 5th year of knowing Nina, she was leaving the country again. I only found out about it through mutual friends. "No way, you two are so close, how could she not tell you?" They were shocked. "Even I know," another added, "and I've only met Nina once. Ryan, maybe she can't bear to leave you?" Someone teased. No one believed I was being honest. They thought Nina and I were hiding things to avoid suspicion. But deep down, I knew Nina was just avoiding me. Why would she do that? I couldn't figure it out. If my persistence truly bothered her, why did she always respond to me? My heart felt like it was soaking in vinegar, sour, heavy, and aching. Without realizing it, I found myself standing outside Nina's apartment, staring at her closed door. The excitement I once felt drained away. I turned to leave when a voice stopped me. "Ryan, what are you doing here again?" I looked back. The door was open, and Nina was leaning lazily against the frame. I met her gaze, my expression complicated. "You're leaving the country. Why? Didn't you tell me?" Nina chuckled, amused. "Ryan, on what grounds are you asking me that?" I was stumped. She was right. What right did I have? "Friend," I forced the word out. Nina laughed out loud. "Well, now you know, don't you? Ryan, I know what you're like. Anything about me, you'd find out regardless. You don't need me to tell you." In that moment, I felt exposed, laid bare under Nina's scrutinizing gaze. Shame burned inside me. All those times I thought she needed my concern suddenly felt so trivial to her. "Got it. Won't happen again," I said quickly, accepting the truth. Nina looked briefly surprised. She straightened up, watching me quietly. "I'm leaving next Monday." "Okay," I replied calmly. She tilted her head. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" I gave a bitter smile. What was left to say? I'd already said everything before, and every time Nina brushed it off, pretending not to understand. Now, I had nothing left. "Take care on your trip," I said, turning to leave with a quiet resolve. On the day Nina left for the airport, I hesitated for a long time before my friends urged me to go. In the crowd, I saw her searching for something. Next to her was Thomas, her childhood friend. Within our social circle, everyone saw them as a perfect match, though nothing official ever came of it. When my feelings for Nina became too obvious, people began pairing me and her together. But Nina herself never made her stance clear. Now, as she was about to leave, it seemed like our story was ending. When I approached, Nina caught sight of me. Her lips curled into a mocking smile. "Told you he'd come," she declared to everyone around. Confused, I looked at the people gathered, unsure of her intentions. Thomas slipped an arm around her and smirked. "You must be Ryan, right? I've heard of you. Nina says you're always around her and she can't shake you off. You're quite the persistent guy." The crowd erupted in laughter, egging him on. "Exactly. Nina never shows any indication, and he still keeps trying. Yeah, usually guys here get girls easily, but with him it's like climbing a mountain. Nina, don't let him wait too long. He might get over you by the time you're back," someone joked. I glanced at Nina, unsure of what to expect, but she confidently declared, "He won't." Like I said, even if I hadn't told Ryan, he'd still show up here. She leaned closer, looking directly at me. "Right, Ryan?" I stepped back. "Not anymore." Nina froze. It was the first time I hadn't played along, especially in public. Friends quickly tried to calm the situation. "Nina, don't tease him too much," one said. "Ryan's slow to temper, sensitive," others chimed in. "Ryan, this might be the last time you see each other for a while. Don't let it get you down. Yeah, cheer up. You'll meet again soon." The tension was beginning to ease until Thomas stirred the pot again. He came over, slung his arm around me like we were buddies, and said, "Come on, Ryan. Nina was just kidding. You can't take a joke. If you knew we bet you'd come, and if not, we'd owe her $1,000. You'd be mad, right? Boys should lighten up and roll with it, you know?" Silence fell. I stared at Nina, taking it all in. She bit her lip and quickly stepped forward to shield Thomas. "Just kidding, no need to take it seriously. Thomas is straightforward, not a thinker like you. Don't take it to heart. Thomas raised his hands in fake innocence. Did I say something wrong? Sorry, Ryan. That's just how I am. I clenched my teeth, terrified my voice would tremble if I spoke. Once again, I cursed my inability to stand firm at crucial moments. Why couldn't I ever hold myself together when it mattered most? We chatted a little more until it was nearly time for Nina and Thomas to pass through security. Suddenly, Nina walked up to me. I'd sensed her gaze on me for a while, but I refused to believe someone who treated me like a bet moments ago would suddenly be so focused on me. She stopped next to me. Ryan, I hope by the time I get back, you'll have someone you can truly rely on. She placed her hand on the shoulder of the girl beside me, checking out her friend. You two actually look pretty good together. I felt irritated. You don't need to worry about my business. Nina looked straight into my eyes. I'm just looking out for you. I don't need it. I quickly rejected her. Nina was taken aback, her eyes dimming. Then you better never need it. Don't come running to me when I get back. Don't worry. It'll be just like you want, I replied firmly. She didn't expect me to be so serious the day. As the announcement came over the speakers, Nina picked up her luggage and left, thoughtfully helping Thomas with his suitcase. See, Nina was considerate. Just was never toward me. We lingered at security, figuring out how to get back. As I stood there, I caught Thomas turning back to give me a challenging look. It lasted only a moment, like a trick of the eye, before he sidled up to Nina and whispered something. They actually looked good together. Suddenly, Irene, the girl Nina had just said would be a good match for me, blocked my view. Let's go home, Irene said. I snapped back to reality, realizing I'd zoned out and missed the plan everyone else had agreed on. All right, I nodded. Weirdly, Nina's comment had made things awkward between us. On the way home, Irene drove slowly, dropping off classmates one by one until it was just the two of us. The car felt strangely quiet. Sitting in the passenger seat, I stared out the window, avoiding her eyes. Sensing the tension, Irene put on some soft music. Where's your home? She suddenly asked. I was caught off guard. They said your place is this direction, but didn't specify exactly where. I'll drop you off at your door, Irene explained. I paused. That's okay. There's a bar up ahead. I'll get out there. Feeling miserable, I had already texted a buddy to meet me. Don't drown yourself in alcohol. Those TV shows are full of lies. You shouldn't believe them, Charlie advised when I met him. I downed a small glass. Can't a guy just drink for no reason? Charlie tossed his jacket aside and sat next to me, accepting his fate. Your issue isn't really with drinking. Whatever, I'll drink with you. After a few rounds, I finally vented. Why does she get to talk about me in front of everyone? She's been playing with me all these years. Charlie, a little tipsy, chimed in. I think you are special to her compared to others, emboldened by the alcohol. I slammed my glass on the table. What a load of crap. She's just messing with me because she knows I like her. The slam sobered Charlie up a little. Well, you could just stop liking her. There are plenty of other women, outwardly. I agreed, but I kept drinking, unaware of how long it had been or how much I'd had. Inevitably, when I couldn't hold myself up anymore, I felt my body collapse backward only to be caught by something, barely able to keep my eyes open. I felt weightless. Then a gentle voice spoke. Do you really like her that much? Liar. You promised me. A year later, word spread that Nina was returning home. The once dormant class group chat suddenly buzzed with life. Someone suggested a reunion, saying it had been a while since we'd all gotten together. Everyone agreed. And since it was also to welcome Nina back, it was decided to be at her place. As I debated whether to go, my phone screen was suddenly turned off by someone else. An arm slipped around me from behind. What are you thinking about? She asked, blinking in the dim room light. I replied, a class reunion. Should I go? Her warm breath brushed against my neck. Why wouldn't you? Or, are you still hung up on her? I was speechless, gently pushing her away. What are you talking about? I wouldn't dare. Suddenly, a sharp pain stung my shoulder, but it was brief. What are you doing? I asked. Irene kissed the spot she'd bitten and teased, naughty. You deserve a punishment. Are you a puppy? I rolled my eyes. Woof. Irene snorted. Woof. I couldn't help but laugh, then suddenly leaned forward to mark her neck as payback. Are you a puppy too? Irene raised an eyebrow, one hand on my head, the other around my waist. I pulled back from her neck, grinning wildly. You taught me learn to fight back. The day Nina returned, quite a few old classmates gathered to give her a warm welcome. As for me, I kept my promise and didn't go. But apparently, she wasn't happy about it. I heard from classmates that Nina was in a foul mood that day, snapping at the smallest things. When asked what was wrong, she wouldn't say, which turned Thomas into the topic of gossip instead. She hadn't changed at all, forever clueless about respecting people or picking the right time and place. Only now, Thomas was the one in the spotlight. Since they'd left, I hadn't heard from Nina even once. Strangely, Thomas had started messaging me often. During their first Chinese New Year abroad, Thomas sent me a picture. It showed Nina cooking. In the kitchen, he wrote, "Ryan, Nina's cooking for me. You haven't had the chance to try her cooking, right? Oh, almost forgot. Back when you were trying to win her over, you'd bring her lunchboxes, but Nina wouldn't even give them a second glance. I ignored him and set Thomas on Do Not Disturb, only checking his random messages when I had a moment during meals. Thomas was kind of amusing. I never responded, yet he texted me every month like clockwork, as if I were some kind of checkpoint. Ryan, look, Nina stayed up all night prepping a birthday surprise for me, and now she's asleep. Ryan, you treated Nina so well. Why didn't she like you back? Ryan, I just said I was bored, and Nina dropped everything just to go shopping with me. So lucky. Sometimes I'd open the messages and laugh at them. I didn't expect, though, that one day I'd get busted by Irene while lying in her arms after dinner. Irene frowned. Why does he text you every day? But I don't answer him. I dodged cleverly, but you read them. And they're all about Nina. I see where this is going. I handed her my phone. How do you want to handle this? Delete them. So I did. Irene was still mad, though. Before deleting, she even sent Thomas a text. Thomas, stop bothering Ryan. I'm a bit of a neat freak. 2 weeks later, at the class reunion, I showed up as planned. Irene, however, got held up with something. As soon as I reached Nina's place, I spotted her in the crowd. Without saying hi, I got sidetracked into chatting with old classmates. Oh my God, Ryan, you look great. No work stress showing at all. It's been so long, you haven't changed a bit. Ryan, is that an engagement ring? You seeing someone? Someone sharp-eyed noticed the ring and exclaimed. I awkwardly rubbed my fingers over it. Nearly a year now, actually. Yep, since that night of bar hopping, it had been exactly a year. The night I got wasted, Irene took me home and booked my friends a hotel. The alcohol had hit me like a delayed reaction. Once at Irene's place, I started acting out, demanding water, asking for cake. Irene managed to calm me down. In the end, I was standing on her couch, clutching her face, sobbing. I'll never like her again. Irene barely held her temper. Like who? Nina. The grip on my waist tightened, and I cringed from the pain. Irene closed her eyes, a tiny hint of pleading in her voice. Why can't you try liking me? My head felt fuzzy. Who are you? Irene suddenly got serious, cupping my head with one hand, tilting my chin up. Ryan, look at me. I'm Irene, I murmured, then suddenly started grinning like an idiot. They say we're a great match. Irene sighed, giving in completely. All right, let's just go to bed. When she laid me down, out of nowhere, I found the courage to wrap my arms around her neck. Irene, I'm here. I raised my hand, tracing the line of her face. Suddenly, I pulled her in, kissing her lips. Irene held the back of my head, responding passionately. Everything felt so natural, yet wildly absurd. A crazy night. I blanked out. The only clear memory was at the peak of the moment, Irene insisting, I stay present. Ryan, look at me. Who am I? Barely opening my eyes, I looked at her blurry figure. Irene, lost in thought. I hadn't noticed I was smiling. Ryan, what's got you so absorbed? Introduce the person, will ya? I felt strangely bashful. Her? She's Ryan. Nina suddenly called my name, interrupting me mid-sentence. When everyone turned to look at her, she paused awkwardly, like even she hadn't planned to say my name out loud. Nina plucked up an excuse. Come help with something. I walked through the kitchen, finding nothing that needed doing. What do you need? I asked. Nina stepped closer. Why didn't you come to the airport? I backed away. Didn't you say you didn't want me there? This is what you wanted. You should be happy then. So why are you here today? Nina cornered me, leaning against the counter. I pointed out, today's not just your welcome party. It's a reunion too, right? Ryan, stop testing my patience. Why are you acting like this? But then she noticed my engagement ring, gripping my wrist tightly. And what's this new trick? Trying to piss me off? I shook her off, freeing myself. Nina, I already have a girlfriend. She sneered, ignoring my words. Ryan, I'm back. Arguing with me now? Isn't it a bit late for that? I finally got it. No matter what I said, Nina always had her own narrative ready. Right then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Nina had the sense not to make another move. When I pulled out my phone, the caller ID brightly showed wife, and cracks appeared in Nina's expression. Irene had insisted on that label. She'd typed it in herself. We weren't even married yet, I answered, quickly, speaking before Irene could. Honey, nice to hear you take the initiative today. Ignoring her teasing, I asked, when are you coming? Miss me? Even over the phone, I could imagine Irene's smirk. Such a cheeky pup, but this time, I indulged her. Yeah, I miss you. Irene noticed something. Are you with someone? Yeah, I admitted honestly. Come quick. Okay, the call ended, leaving Nina nearly grinding her teeth down. Who was that? She demanded. I held up my phone, the screen saver showing a photo of me with Irene. Gotta thank you for setting us up. Weren't you the one who said we were a good match? Spot on. Nina was flustered. Even when everyone else arrived, she was completely out of it. I'd never seen her so upset. We all gathered in a circle. Irene sat next to me, and I leaned against her. It was obvious to everyone. Turns out it was Irene. Huh? Didn't see that coming. You two kept it pretty tight-lipped. Yeah, snuck off together without giving us any gossip. Punishment: chug 3 drinks. You two are such a good-looking pair. Why not post anything on social? The blessings and questions bombarded me and Irene. Before I could even respond, someone noticed the bite mark on Irene's neck. No way! Ryan, you're that wild. Everyone's attention turned straight to the mark on Irene's neck. The teasing was overwhelming, and I found myself hiding against Irene, thinking maybe I shouldn't have bitten her after all. The bite had nearly faded, so why was it so obvious today? Irene didn't bother covering it up. Instead, she pulled me close and said, all right, enough. He's going to get shy now. Everyone was in good spirits except for Nina, sulking. In the corner, after the reunion, I drank quite a bit. I could barely stand without leaning on Irene for support, but luckily I wasn't completely smashed. As people left, Irene and I were about to go too. Stay, Nina suddenly said. Only 4 of us remained in the room: Nina, Thomas, Irene, and me. Irene stood protectively in front of me, hugging me. No need for us to stay, but Nina wasn't backing down. He's drunk. Staying is for the best. I'm just looking out for him. But you seem in a hurry to leave. Afraid you can't beat me? Irene just laughed at her remark. Ryan's his own person first, then he's my husband. He's not something you can just claim, she said. Nina clenched her fists. Irene, anything I want, I get. Without another word, Irene picked me up. Look at your own situation before talking as if you have a chance. Somehow, Nina found out where I work. One day after work, I saw her standing by my car with a bouquet from afar. Glancing at her, I turned to leave without stopping. Ryan, just give me a chance, she called out. I found it amusing. You must be kidding, right? That's not funny at all. Unfazed, Nina tried handing me the roses. I stepped back, and the flowers fell to the ground. Nina, I don't like roses. They're too flashy. She calmly picked them up. I'll bring different flowers next time. What do you like? Unbelievable. It's not about what you bring. I don't like you, so nothing you give will matter. Showing her the ring on my finger, I said, I'm already taken. Don't you get it? Nina scoffed. You're not married yet. What's wrong with a little competition? Competition, I replied flatly. You don't stand a chance here. Understand now? She threw the flowers down, reverting to her usual arrogant self. Ryan, I've been pretty patient, but my tolerance has limits. Here's your last chance. Leave Irene and be with me. I felt like it was the funniest joke I'd ever heard. Nina, you're too full of yourself. What makes you think I'd choose you over Irene? Maybe years ago I gave too much, making it seem cheap. I've wasted 5 years on this. Isn't that enough? For 5 years I tried showing how I felt. Did you ever give me a straight answer? That kind of unclear love isn't what I want, and neither are you. Don't think anyone's a replacement. Everyone's their own person. If you truly love someone, you wouldn't rely on others to fill that gap. Feeling a sense of relief, I asked, do you get it now? You're not dumb, Nina. If you don't like someone, forcing it won't make it happy. And that fruit's already rotten. She was quiet. The flower petals slipped from the wrapping and dropped to the ground. Feelings past their expiration date can't be forced to bloom. I heard a car honk behind me and turned around. Irene was in the car. Our eyes met in the sunlight. Irene didn't need to do anything, just being there was enough for her to win. I'm just an average worker with weekends off. But Irene's different, the CEO, never off duty. Sometimes, when she can't make it back on weekends, I get too lazy to cook and just order takeout. When the doorbell rang, I thought my food had arrived, but instead, I found someone unfriendly. Thomas. He removed his sunglasses and glared at me, eyes bloodshot. Ryan, what did you do to Nina? After seeing you, she's been ignoring me. Was it something you said, you jerk? Before I knew it, Thomas punched me, leaving my face stinging, blood at the corner of my mouth. Asshole. Die. As he aimed another blow my way, I dodged and grabbed his wrist. Have I been too easy on you? Do you think I have no temper? Am I your dad, needing to baby you all the time? After seeing me, what magic do you think I have to change a princess? Look within yourself first. Maybe put in some hard work before blaming gravity for your problems. You and Nina suit each other perfectly in your madness. Always stirring the pot for others. Maybe do the world a favor and stay indoors more often. I never knew I could be so tough. When my mind's racing, all I can think about are Irene's words. Fight back. At first, I wasn't so witty with my comebacks. Actually, I was pretty clumsy. When arguing, I'd lose the moment I opened my mouth. That feeling of getting all flustered but still being speechless made me look weak. I guess getting bullied by Irene so much toughened me up. She noticed my weak spot and made sure she never argued back. I'd just take the hits, holding it in better than any ninja ever could. Irene worried I'd suffer more, always pushing me to stand up for myself. Sometimes fighting back isn't the perfect solution, but it's the best way to stand your ground. In the beginning, Irene didn't mind taking the heat, letting me vent at her without feeling bad, sometimes even enjoying it. She'd say, "Darling, it's right to stand up for yourself. Never let yourself get tricked." My feelings for Irene didn't just appear overnight. I mean, falling in love after one crazy night. That's insane. I couldn't just suddenly fall for someone I can't even remember like Nina. Deciding to like her took me ages, and who knew she'd turn out to be a demon later on. Once upon a time, Nina took care of my shy, cowardly self too. Maybe unintentionally. Showing her warmth, she was the first to blatantly stand up for me. Unlike with Irene, who wanted me to grow strong enough not to need defending. Irene always said she couldn't be by my side all the time. I needed to learn to protect myself, just like now, facing off against Thomas alone. My words didn't get through to him, they only made him madder. Come on, man, we're both guys. You think I can't tell what you're thinking? After all these years liking Nina with nothing to show, I don't believe you've moved on just cause she's been away for a year. I'm closing the door. Believe it or not, stop bugging me. Don't try that macho competition thing with me. No one's competing with you, it's just you putting Nina on some pedestal, acting like everyone's after her. Ryan, Thomas screamed as he lunged at me. We rolled and fought like no tomorrow, punching, kicking, whatever. By the time the delivery guy showed up, both our faces were bruised. At the precinct, Irene showed up with a grim look. I hadn't even wiped the blood off my lips. My face was all banged up, hair a mess, barely managed to smooth it out. Compared to me, Thomas fared worse. I went all out, his face was puffed, one eye barely open. Irene sat next to me and settled things with the cops. We're not settling this quietly. If it goes to court, I don't mind spending more time and energy. Thomas was losing it, yelling, "Look at whose face is worse. Aren't I good for not asking for anything? Why the court?" Irene stayed calm but icy cold. "Thomas, weren't you the one who started it all? You came looking for trouble, didn't you? You threw the first punch." Irene was right, leaving Thomas at a complete loss for words. Soon Nina arrived. She looked startled the moment she saw me. "Nina, look. Ryan did this to me." Thomas tugged at her sleeve, almost in tears, but Nina stared him down, scolding him sharply. "What were you thinking? Causing trouble to this extent? Do you really need to end up in a police station to be embarrassed? If you're not ashamed, I sure am." Thomas hadn't expected Nina to turn on him like that. "Nina, you never treated me like this. You said you liked me, why not stand by me?" But Nina's disdain was clear. "Stop the drama or handle it yourself." That shut Thomas up. Nina then walked over to Irene and me. How much? Let's settle it privately. Irene helped me up. We've already told the police we're not settling. See you in court. Nina wouldn't back down. Come on. It's not a big deal. Maybe to you it isn't. Irene shot back quickly, but you're not the one who got hurt. Her words burst out with fire. That's what you call love. Anyone can talk. If you can't even protect your loved ones, what's the point? Nina clung to her own twisted logic. Real love shouldn't lead to making things big, embarrassing the guy. No, Nina, Irene snapped. It's just you're scared. Caught up in your own interests and image. Real hurt doesn't compare to your precious image. Irene was on fire, and I had to hold her back. Irene, my head's pounding. Let's drop it. Without hesitation, Irene pulled me away. In the car, after parking, she went silent. Then softly, she said, Ryan, you're all I have left. Don't leave me. I was startled by her sudden vulnerability. Her words hurt me deeply. How scared of me leaving must she be to bare her soul again and again like this? Every little bit of closeness, Irene would hold on tight, like I might disappear the very next second. I'd reassured her countless times, but she never seemed to truly ease. After getting together with Irene, I found out that college wasn't actually the first time we'd crossed paths. Irene came from a pretty messed up home. One argument between her parents, and she found herself inexplicably locked out. At just 9 years old, how could a little girl possibly know any survival skills? Back then, Irene was so down on her luck. All she could do was sit on the street and cry. Meanwhile, I was 2 years younger, basking in the happiness of an almost perfect family. By chance, I saw her on the street. Her situation tugged at my heartstrings. I secretly stuffed all the pocket change I had into her hands. What I didn't realize was that my school lid, the one I couldn't find, had been mixed in with it. That chance encounter wasn't really by chance at all. It was Irene's relentless effort that made it happen. Life isn't some romantic drama. There aren't that many chance encounters. It's often one person's quiet efforts that turn strangers into something more. I had no idea that while I was quietly crushing on Nina, Irene was secretly in love with me. I held Irene's hand and placed it on my face. Irene, you can confirm it with me as many times as you want. I love you. The doctor came in, did a quick check, then left. Now it was just Irene and me in the hospital room. Seeing her clueless expression, I couldn't help teasing her a little. Irene, I called out. She immediately sat down next to my bed. Are you feeling unwell? I shook my head. No, I just wanted to call your name. She let out a sigh of relief and hugged me, helping me sit more comfortably. Irene, Irene, Irene. I playfully called her name over and over. She patiently responded every single time. I love you. Those 3 words slipped out, freezing her in place. It was as if she'd suddenly made a serious decision. Irene gently touched my face, sealing it with a devoted kiss. Lost in the moment, I noticed someone sneaking a peek from the doorway, but I chose to ignore it. When Irene finally stopped, breathless, I said, Nina was just here. I know, Irene replied, pointing to a mirror. No wonder she had been so possessive earlier. Irene gently caressed my cheek. She doesn't deserve to like you. Recalling Nina's expression, I spoke assuredly. She probably realizes it too. In court, Nina withdrew as Thomas' defense lawyer. Thomas was left to fend for himself and ended up with a record. Victory came that night. At home, Irene cornered me at the entrance table. With our foreheads touching, the atmosphere was charged, her intense gaze almost predatory. I won't let anyone hurt you again. My response drowned in a scorching kiss. At last, Irene brushed the sweat-soaked hair from my forehead and kissed it. Then, a cool metal sensation pressed against my left ring finger. I heard her whisper softly in my ear, I'll be responsible for you forever.